Van egy tájföldi szakértőnk, aki már évek óta visszatérő vendége az ITBN-nek, Prinya Aneknek hívják. Ő Tájföldről szokott érkezni, most nem tudott megérkezni Magyarországra, nemféle okokból, viszont küldött nekünk egy videót, amiben elmondja azt, hogy ő, amit itt igazából el szeretett volna mondani a színpadon. A videóban be fog mutatni egy rendszert, majd fogjátok látni, ami az ő saját fejlesztésű, hát ugye azt mondanám, hogy ilyen social media kém rendszerük, amivel ilyen jellegű változásokat, dolgokat figyelemmel tudnak követni. A videó maga az ugyan HD felbontású, de azért egy kicsit olyan Ryan közlegény megmentése első 40 perc. Kérlek így nézzétek, de tartalmilag szerintem nagyon érdekes műsor lesz, és utána folytatjuk egy kerekasztal beszélgetéssel.
Hi everyone, I'm Prinya Anek from Bangkok, Thailand. It's my fourth time in ITBN. This year I cannot come in person to Budapest, but I'm remote from Bangkok in video clip. This time I'm very glad to present the new technology from Thailand called social media intelligence. Intelligence means listening, analysis and engagement. We can understand how customers talking about our product and service in real time. When we need to know insight about customer information, we need to hear their voice from the social media. All kinds of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, even on the website, we can analyze all the public information and understand more and in-depth information when customers need or they want to complain about our product service. We need to respond them very quickly to manage our reputation. That's why what we call social media management or reputational risk management. In Thailand, we use our self-development tool called Blue Eye technology. I will show you how Blue Eye works and what is Blue Eye and how Blue Eye can help the customer to get the insight and benefit from the social media analytics. Follow me. Blue Eye technology is a Thailand technology that we developed over 3 years. We call our technology is the social media intelligence. They can do listening, analytics, and engagement. They can do 3 functions. Listen first. After that, analyze, analytics, and engage into the social media world. What happens if your customer talking about your service and product in a bad way? They complain the service, it damage to reputation, image, and absolutely sales and revenue of the enterprise. Blue Eye is a web-based application. You can use a browser to use Blue Eye easily. Go to URL blueye.io, right? On the top of the page, blueye.io, and go to Blue Eye login with username and password. After you sign in, you can log in into the Blue Eye system. This Blue Eye system watching 3 banks in Thailand. In Thailand, we have big 3 banks: SCB, KTB, and K-Bank. For SCB, it stands for Siam Commercial Bank. I show you. SCB, Siam Commercial Bank, one of the biggest bank in Thailand. K-Bank, top 3 big bank in Thailand, Kasikorn Bank, and KTB, the biggest government bank, Krung Thai Bank. We want to see how customer talking about those 3 banks, SCB, KTB, and K-Bank. After that,
we input the keyword into the boolean. This is a K-bank, okay, and we choose KTB, and we choose SCB, okay, and we start to listen to the customer talking about the K-bank, SCB, and KTB. Now time is 8 p.m. in Thailand and 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. People still talking about the bank all the time. And it is statistic, right? And if you want to see 1 week, you can see 1 week data before today, 1 week ago. You can see 1 week data. You can see 1 month data. Even you can see 3 month data. Or even you can custom the data based on from and to. Let's say from the 1st of July to the 15th of July you can do. Okay. And you can see that they can understand the information from Facebook. This is Facebook. This one is Facebook. This one Instagram. This one Twitter. This one is a web board in Thailand, very famous web board in Thailand, pantip.com. You can see it all based on what people are talking about the product and service. And you can see the number of the people talking about this. You can see total mention is 9,237. You can see total user it's 5,782. This is 1 month data. 1 day, people talking about K-Bank 3,496 times. It's been have some problem happen with the K-Bank service. That's why K-Bank is very peak, highest peak. But another day, 2nd of September, 3rd of September, K-Bank is normal, right? But on the top of this is end of the month, is the 31st August, Friday. So we were talking about K-Bank highest. It means something happened with the K-Bank. And when you press this, then go to what they're talking about in Facebook, in web board, and in news.
Hope you enjoy my show and the Blue Eye technology. I think it can create the idea for social media management and reputational risk management. And you need to be careful when you post on a social media. It will be collect and analyze with the big data analytic tool. Sometimes they're using AI and machine learning to do more intelligent. And that's why the social media world. And we need to know the power of the social media, and they can change our mind. Even some election or let people buy product and service because they see the information on the social media. I think they call the circle of influence that we need to know and never underestimate the power of the social media. I hope I will be in ITBN again next year with a new topic. Thank you, Mr. Arthur, for inviting me again. Be honored to present in Budapest again this time. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have seen this good video. And then we will speak about this video and we go farther a bit. Neither of us are IT security guys, or I don't know. But at the same time, at the end, we will conclude somehow that we will speak about national security issues based on that video. So, just I prepared. Okay. So we have seen this video from Prinya, and what do you think about the video?
Well, it's usually, it's basic social media analysis from what I got. It's counting mentions and maybe doing some sentiment analysis. We can see that in a whole range of other products. It's kind of the base, what we are doing, but we are going a little bit farther into including psychodemographic profiling and social network analysis. So that's kind of the ground base for social media analysis.
But beforehand we had a conversation, and this can be somehow the background of the so-called computational propaganda. Mm-hmm. What is computational propaganda?
Well, computational propaganda, where we are living in a world where different actors, well, data is really valuable, and we are living in a world where a whole range of actors are trying to get the hold of data and use the data to influence elections, riots, and other social events to kind of shape reality and what's going on. And what we mean by computational propaganda is using social network analysis to target the biggest influencers in the network and do their psychodemographic profile and kind of tailor the message and use bots, social bots, to shape what they see, so kind of make up their social bubbles and reshape what the actors want.
Okay, so there are three things. The first one is somehow the psychodemographic
profile. Yeah.
And there is, as far as I could, there are some kind of psychological theory in the background of this. So this is the basic level. There's no harm. I mean, it's pure science. And the second level is the social network analysis that we have seen in the video as well, which is it's quite okay. I mean, they use it in market research.
Yeah.
And the last level, on the top of it, there is a computational propaganda. But can you say the basic level of this? I mean, this so-called ocean model, if I'm right, and we have a slide of that.
Yeah.
So what is the scientific background of this whole thing? How can we spoof and trick people and convince them to push the right button on them and they will do that you want to do?
Well, in the past, when we wanted to influence someone, we had a billboard. This is from the Slovakian election, and that billboard was the same for everyone who walked and saw that billboard. So this is from the McCain campaign. It's the same, and it was distributed for every person. Maybe they tailored it to a specific group based on if you were black, white, or in a certain age group. If you look at this picture, well, we see a group of colleagues probably, and when you look at those two guys, the man, white, 28 to 35, and the man, white, 28 to 35, those were the groups and back then, but those people aren't the same just based on having the same age or having the same nationality. And when you want to try to influence those, you have to kind of tailor it specifically to them. And so people who may look similar at the surface often want and respond to completely different things. So
you mean that, for example, so the classical traditional way that we use so-called social demographic data to make segments or groups, and we have, I don't know, 5 to 10 groups. I mean, based on the sex, sexuality, and race, and so on. And then, so you say that the people are not the same in these groups, and we can go farther.
That's only a really small component of the bigger picture. So if we look at this age, income, occupation, it's only a small proportion of what makes someone a person. You have psychological factors and you have cultural factors. And when you count them in, you can make a better picture, a better psychodemographic picture of a person, and you can target specifically to that person what you want. So what's going on, it's the ocean model. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's used...
Just interrupt. Is there anybody in the room who heard about already the ocean model? So just please raise your hands if you heard about that.
Who has heard about Cambridge Analytica and using...
That's a better question. Cambridge Analytica?
Yeah.
I think that they have it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is I guess this is background. This is the background of Cambridge Analytica. How does it work? Is it true?
Well, yeah. Dr. Kaczynski, who was working at the Cambridge Center for Psychodemography or Psychometrics, developed the model, and it kind of got into to the guys from Cambridge Analytica, and they were using it. It's a story of to what extent were they using it in the election, because some of it sounded more like marketing campaign than actually using that model.
Okay, so we had an old model with 5 to 10 groups, and we have this new model. How many groups we have here? Hundreds,
well,
or?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's you. How many people are there? It's tailor specific. Thousands.
So I can have thousands on groups, and what to do with them? I mean, this is only science and the scientific background. I mean, they are different and so on. So what happens? What is the next level?
Well, you first collect the data. So likes, comments, statuses, reactions, metadata, credit score if you're based in the US, shopping history, and now it's kind of really hard to get your hands on that data because Facebook is limiting their API, so you can't really get that data as like a couple of years, 2 years back. It was real easier to gather data. And then you use AI, well, machine learning, and you use a specific model, and then you get the result of this is the Facebook likes. So what goes into the model, into building the model, is Facebook likes, profile information. You kind of just use singular value decomposition, and you build on those likes the prediction model. The model that Cambridge Analytica used was the one from Cambridge, from Dr. Kaczynski. They used an application on Facebook which collected their data, and they filled out a questionnaire on their personality, and that's how they got the predictive model. And that's the main model that's being used right now. If you look at IBM or at those guys at the Psychometric Center at Cambridge.
So we have a theory about that, how people work in their mind and so on, and different groups. We have this analysis from different kind of data, so we know so we can classify real people to thousands of groups, and then comes the computational propaganda.
Well, yeah.
Or the marketing.
This is my profile 1 year ago. You can see this is only like a really basic. You can predict sexuality, gender. The models were tuned on the US data, so if someone's going to vote Republican or Democrat, everything's with a probability. There are some values that are better and more precise at predicting, for example, gender or ethnicity based on Facebook likes. And there are some that are really hard to predict, such as if someone is in a relationship or single. We are talking about 50–60% there, and into 80 85% into ethnicity and this basic ocean model. So if some neuroticism, or if someone's team working, or laid back, this is really the precision is really good on this, but not so much.
So we have your data, and we have your likes, and some kind of metadata and so on. So, for example, what did you buy, and so on. And does it mean that I can convince you about anything? I mean, I can find a button on you and push it, and then you will just vote to that person or that or the other one? So is it possible is it like that?
Well, it depends on the person, but in general, you have some people who are not really, you can do whatever you want and you're not going to convince them of something, and then you have the more susceptible people and someone in the middle, just like a normal distribution. So yeah, you can convince some, but you can't convince other. But this is also based on, you can see that from their psychological profile, if they're hard to convince or easier.
Okay, so we had a conversation until now on a theoretical level. So, but is there any real story that you could find examples where they have used something like that and they want to just trick or just make people do something different than they really want?
Well, yeah, sure. That's where the computational propaganda comes in. If you're a company and you want to make a profile of, let's say, a couple million people, it's really expensive. And if you want to promote some product or some ideology, you don't have the money to actually profile everyone. So you use social network analysis. This is at the end. I'm not sure if I can click that. Use social network analysis. This is from the snap election in the UK, and you target specific people. When we're studying this, this is the network of people discussing the general election in the UK. And what was interesting about this is that a mother of two from Manchester had a bigger impact on the discussion about the general election than the Prime Minister of the UK, Theresa May. So if you target those specific individuals based on social network analysis, you then do the psychodemographic profiling of those specific people, and then you try to convince them and make, depending on your budget, on your skills, use bots, or you use a normal marketing strategy.
So we didn't speak about your background. So why is it interesting for you? Are you some kind of background people from the, I don't know, from conspiracy theories that you are to, I don't know, in the background do things and work for companies like in Cambridge Analytica? So why is it interesting for you?
Well, it's really interesting. Well, I'm a social scientist, and I'm dealing with politics and security issues. So this is, from my perspective, what's reshaping reality. And we are living in the 21st century, and it's a digital 21st century. And just the thought that someone who 2 centuries ago wouldn't have such a large impact and now influence so many people and reshape what's going on is just really interesting.
Okay, so this is the reality, or this is the reality we make, but so what? So what can we do with that? I mean, how can we live with that? And how can we avoid on micro level, on personal level, to be misled, and on macro level, on society level? What does it mean that we have tools like that, or people have, or companies or governments have tools like that?
Well, first of all, what I think is there's not a lot of research in this field due to the restrictions from Facebook, from Twitter. So they have better models, they have better data, and when you want to battle conspiracy theories or something like that, you need the whole data picture, and we're not getting the whole data picture. So first, Facebook, Twitter, and other companies should allow more access for researchers to study that. That's on the macro level, and on like an individual level, you have to, well, it's double check, but it's not in the human capacity. We need shortcuts in our lives, and it's really hard to give an answer to what should be done on an individual level.
So at the moment, but at the same time, it's a national security issue, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. It's but states and in Slovakia, the agencies working for the government, they also have really restricted access to that data. Those companies are really guarding that, so they are also in the dark with this.
Okay, only one last question. Do you still have a Facebook account?
Yeah, but I'm not using it that much.
Okay, thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.